we'll do is we will go ahead and go into our executive board reports, which are going to be extremely short tonight because the only executive board report that you're going to be getting is going to be coming from me this evening. Our vice president is that position is still currently vacant and will be filled, as well as the parliamentarian at our March meeting. Also, Victoria Villamil, for personal reasons, decided to resign from the position of secretary for the club. So we will also be talking about that as well later on. And our treasurer, Patrick Breshik, is traveling this evening, and his treasurer's report will be attached to the minutes after the fact. So with that, I will go and start with my president's report, which will be fairly brief because not too much has been going on since our November general membership meeting that we had. So for my president's report, I just wanted to congratulate Steve Smodides, the DEC chair, on his reelection, as well as all of the other DEC officers that were elected or re-elected. Was very excited to have work under a great DEC leadership team coming up for the next cycle. So very excited to have all of them in office or back in office again. I think that, despite some of the outcomes of the 2020 election, I still do believe that we in Miami-Dade County worked our butts off. I know we as a club, I know we've talked about this before, but sending out over 15,000 postcards, making more than 6,000 phone calls during the general election, texting over 42,000 people, recruiting, training over 240 volunteers was quite the accomplishment. I'm very, very proud of that work that we've done. Continuing on, we as a club have decided to do what we can to help out for the Georgia United States Senate runoff elections that are coming up on January the 5th. If you haven't had a chance to join us for one of our phone banks, we are hosting them twice a week on Tuesday evenings and then on Saturdays, but you're always free to phone bank directly with the campaigns whenever you'd like to. We are not actually hosting the phone bank itself, but rather just providing a dedicated time and space for our members to do the phone banks then. So we are plugging directly into Reverend Raphael Warnock's campaign, as well as John Ossoff's campaign. And so essentially what we're doing is we are just kind of being a conduit to those races so that folks can make calls directly to those campaigns. And very excited to see folks joining us for those phone banks. We've decided to discontinue doing our Zoom virtual field office because it started to feel a little bit redundant and that people would be getting on our Zoom and then having to, if they had already, basically just to get instructions on how to sign up for those phone banks and then hop onto the actual campaign Zoom. So what we're doing now is we're just providing just both Warnock's campaign and Ossoff's campaign, the information for how you can sign up to phone bank with them directly. So that was number one. Number two, I wanted to just briefly talk about our upcoming elections. So we've obviously had a little bit of turnover in our leadership team, but very excited for hopefully some new faces to step up and join us, whether it is joining a committee or whether it is chairing a committee or even running for one of the officer positions. At our March elections, we will have open seats for vice president, secretary, and parliamentarian, as well as board seats 1 and 3 up for election. If you are interested at all in running for office for our March elections, feel free to reach out to us at miamibeachdems@gmail.com. In the meantime, we will be appointing a nominating committee, which will be announced at our January membership meeting. And if you would like to be on the nominating committee, all you need to do is send an email to that same exact email address, miamibeachdems@gmail.com. Basically, as far as our nominating committee is concerned, per our bylaws, it is in Article 9, Section 3, says that the president as chairman shall appoint a nominating committee at the regular meeting each January, and it'll be comprised of 5 paid voting members, at least 2 of whom are not running for a position on the board of directors and who do not currently serve on the board of directors. They are subject to approval by the board of directors, those folks in the nominating committee, and the committee shall present at least 1 candidate for each elective office at the monthly meeting in February. Additional nominations from the floor shall be in order at that time, as well as the March meeting. With that, I did want to just highlight one other small matter of business that we had talked about at our November meeting, which was myself as the president created 2 subcommittees for our board of directors, one to address the handling of members' information, and the second one to address code of conduct on behalf of the board and the leadership team. With that being said, the Code of Conduct Committee is still ongoing, and we hope to present a report on that at our January meeting, but we have finalized some recommendations for the handling of members' information. So essentially this, going forward, what we intend to do is, instead of allowing candidates running for our offices to have an email and phone number distribution list to be able to contact you, we will be, the board of directors will be receiving all communications on your statements of candidacy, and all of that will go through the communications committee, and they will be sent out prior to the meeting. It'll be very similar to what was done with the DEC elections, where the candidate statements were all sent out that way as well. We think this is a very simple solution so that we can hopefully just maintain our members' information, which we do hold and understand that it is sensitive. So with that, that is my president's report, and I will go ahead and launch into some committee reports. So first up, we've got Campaign Committee Chair David Geller.
All right, hope everyone's doing well. Not a big report tonight, but I do want to echo what Matthew said about our Georgia races. We need to do everything we can to help them out up there. The other race that's happening is and you might have been seeing lots of Facebook and emails about this, but our FDP chair, vice chair, and state officer elections are coming up. And I believe that meeting is going to be on January 9th, the state organizational meeting. So that might be also available via Zoom. Our representatives to the our voting representatives are going to be our state committee man, state committee woman at the DEC, which is Senator Annette Taddeo and William Byatt. So hopefully if we can get some more information on that, we can spread that around. I just don't know if that's a public Zoom or not, but if it is, we'll send that around. And then several of you reached out to me about being involved in the campaign committee, and I'm going to be in touch with you. January, hopefully we'll have our first committee meeting and we'll kick off really strong. And other than that, I'm very excited to see our Miami Beach City Commissioner here tonight as our guest speaker. Welcome. I know Matthew's going to do the formal introduction, but I just want to thank you, Commissioner, for being here. And I just want to wish you all a wonderful, happy holidays and Happy New Year. And that's my report.
Excuse me. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Next up, we will have a communications committee report, please.
Good evening, everyone. So as far as the communications have gone this month, definitely less than we had to over the in the run-up to the election. Still, we have a strong communications outreach. We have an email list of about 4,000 people. We have recently started a texting service, and we have about 100 of you that we can reach out to text when we have important events, like a reminder to come to this meeting, for example. On Facebook, we're continuing to see a slight increase in followers. We have 1,154 followers as of today. Twitter, we actually saw a 5% increase this month rather. So we have 600 Twitter followers. Instagram, 918. So we're getting close to that 1,000. It's always fun when when we break a barrier like that. Most of our comms this month has been around the Georgia Senate races, the Wind Down Wednesday, and a food drive. If you don't know, we're having a food drive for the month of December. We've collected, we're taking food donations as well as monetary donations, which we will, 100% of that goes into buying food for the Miami Beach Community Church. We've raised $120 so far on that food drive. I had dropped a link into the chat. It's called Get Involved. That has information about ways you can get involved in the Georgia Senate runoff. Join our phone bank. You can send postcards. You can donate to the campaigns. We have a bunch of links and a bunch of information there, including the important dates. Check that out. Amanda has dropped another couple nice links into there as far as becoming a member, and also a link for the food drive. And I am going to drop into the chat all of our social handles and ways to get in touch with us. So copy these, keep them handy. Hook up with us on social media, follow us, give us a like, ask a question. That's the report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate it. Next up, we've got our newly nominated by myself and then approved by our board of directors at our December board of directors meeting, neighborhood and building organizing chair, Aaron Boslin. For those of you, and I hopefully won't be stealing Aaron's thunder, because I know that he will be talking to you about this now. Aaron was formerly on our board, and I'm very happy to have him in this role. I know our board of directors and our leadership team is very excited to have you. So Aaron, I would love for you to give us an introduction and give us any type of report you'd like to.
Yeah, no, I just mostly wanted to say hi, and I'm excited to be back in. Like Matthew said, my name is Aaron Boslin. I love the work the Miami Beach Democratic Club does. I enjoyed serving on the board previously, and even just seeing some of these faces, Bill and Ileana and Amanda and Janet, and seeing everyone is just making me happy. So I'm excited to get back into it. And I don't have a report because this is my first meeting. But what I did want to say, just as far as my thinking, is, I think a lot of times, we think about the last month or two before an election and all of the nuts and bolts stuff. And this club does the work really well, but just the nuts and bolts stuff that could make everyone do their work better, right? What would it look like if we had built the kind of infrastructure that we want to have in terms of delivering votes, mobilizing results, all of those sorts of things. And the work of this position is to sort of do all that non-sexy nuts and bolts stuff now to put us in the best position that we can be down the road. And I know Matthew has a great vision for this role. I know that the current board has done all kinds of work in this area, but the basic steps forward is going to be thinking about dividing up North Beach, Mid Beach, South Beach, and then finding people who are interested in mapping out what our presence looks like in all of those areas, with the ultimate goal, acknowledging we're not going to get there right away, or necessarily even at all, but the ultimate goal being, why isn't it that we could get down to the building level, where we have access to every building, every community, every part of the beach, and starting from that's where we want to be in 2 years. What do we have to do in the intervening time to make that possible? So like I've said, this is a great organization. We have great people here, knock on wood, as we sort of look towards returning to being able to do things, not just digitally. I think the next years are going to be a really exciting time, and I'm really thrilled and really honored to be rejoining this group, to be able to play my own role in this larger organization's success.
Thank you, Aaron. And just very briefly, like Aaron said, I think that one of the things I'm really excited about as we try to lay the groundwork for 2022 is really identifying leaders in North, Mid, and South Beach, and then even further breaking down those areas, because even within inside of each of those, 3 sections of Miami Beach, there's so much diversity, whether you're living in a single family home, or whether you're living in a small condo or a high rise, and so on and so forth. And so if you do have any interest in organizing your own building, would love for you guys to reach out to Aaron. I don't think I've actually turned over the campaign address, or sorry, the committee address for Aaron, but we'll make sure that we include that in our email recap, so that you can reach out to him as well. Thank you so much. And next up, we will have Amanda Knapp, our outreach chair.
Hi, happy holidays. So as Steve says, we have the food drive coming up, which I put the link in for the chat. We thought it would be easier for everyone to donate money, and then we can just take the money and then buy the canned goods and non-perishables all at once, to make it just easier with COVID. So if you guys can donate $5, $10, we'll use that to buy the cans and the non-perishables. The church, actually, if anyone's interested, every Sunday they do deliver food to local families on Miami Beach, not just because of COVID, but all year round. So that would be great if you guys can help out. And then also, as I was going through the member list, we have about 13 people not on today who are dues paying members. So if you're new or your dues ran out, it would be great if you want to join, because we do have the elections coming up in March, and you do need to be a member a month in advance. So that would be good, great for you guys to do now. And then we also are going to do a park cleanup at the Venetian Park down by where the drawbridge is. So that's going to be January 31st at 2 p.m. So we don't have the official information, like the official webpage for that yet, but that is January 31st, 2 p.m. Venetian Park, down by the drawbridge. We did it a year ago, and we had collected almost 300 pounds of garbage. The park looks really clean, but if you get close to where the water is, from all the people on the boats going by, I guess they must by accident, the garbage falls off, or but it does get very dirty with garbage. So if you guys would like to attend, that would be great. We will have gloves, garbage bags, and all of the supplies. So again, January 31st, 2 p.m. And happy holidays.
Thank you, Amanda. Next up, we'll have Bill Warren, our program chair. Bill, are you on? Thought I saw you. There you are. Bill, oh, there you go.
There it is. Good evening, everybody. Good to see everybody. It's always a pleasure. I don't have much to report tonight. It's going to be a very short report because there hasn't been a lot of activities from the program committee since the election. But we will be gearing up for the first of the year, and we have a few dedicated people that's part of this committee. But we're always looking for new people with new ideas. So if you're interested, please feel free to reach out to me or to the club. And because we do want to, I got some ideas for the first of the year that I want to share with the group, the program committee that is. But I was thinking that there may be people who may not necessarily want to join a committee, but may have some good ideas. Now, you don't have to join if you don't want to commit yourself to a committee, but you got some good ideas to share with the committee on things that we could do for our club and for our city and our community. Just please feel free to reach out to us or to me and the program committee and give me your ideas. And we'll be glad to, take a look at them, evaluate them, and decide if there's something that we want to implement. So again, please, feel free to reach out to me if there is any good ideas that you have for the new year. But yeah, that's it for tonight. And I just want to wish everybody a happy holiday and a very prosperous new year. And we are looking forward to 2021. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bill. Bill, I dropped Bill's email address in the chat for everybody. So I guess our voter registration chair is, that committee is still vacant, as well as our fundraising chair. And then Matt Moran is not able to attend this evening, who is our newly appointed data chair, but is working on trying to put together, kind of cobble together all of our data from this year, so we can really present that in a real fun and interesting fashion. It could be great to highlight all the great work that the Miami Beach Democratic Club has been doing over the year. And hopefully that will be coming out sometime in early 2021. Another thing that we would like to do as well is to continue promoting our member interest survey as well, so that if any of you have any interest in joining one of the committees or issues that you would like to see us highlighting and amplifying as we go into 2021, that'll be coming out again in 2021 in the beginning part of the new year. With that, that finalizes our committee reports. And what we will now do is I would like to turn over the floor to one of my friends and our city commissioner, Michael Gongora. Michael, take the floor, please. We would love to hear about what's going on in the city of Miami Beach. How can we, as the Miami Beach Democratic Club, become more involved? What's going on? Talk to us. And then we'd love to ask some questions.
Thank you so much, Matthew and David. Thanks for the invite. I really appreciate it. Obviously, we had some good news. This is my first meeting back with my friends, and I am a member of the club. So we had great news with Lucia and Eileen and Daniela. Not as good news in the congressional race. So I think Miami Beach voted strongly Democratic with Donna, but we really need to look at how that ebbs up the coast with the Hispanic vote and especially the Cuban American vote. But since I'm here tonight as your nonpartisan commissioner, I'm going to give you some highlights of things happening in Miami Beach. Number one, big news, our city manager, Jimmy Morales, left to go work with Daniela in the county. We recently needed to appoint an interim city manager. I was very proud to make the motion for our longtime city attorney, Raul Aguila, to serve as interim city manager for approximately 6 months. That caused an opening for interim city attorney because he can't serve in both seats. So longtime assistant city attorney Rafael Paz became part of my motion, and both of those gentlemen were voted on unanimously by the Miami Beach Commission. An interesting note, because they're just the most qualified for me, but and I think they're both Democrats, I'm pretty sure, but as an interesting note, they both, and now the city clerk, all 3 charter positions, happen to be openly gay men. So with me and Richardson, you got half the dais being openly gay, something new in Miami Beach. As we continue to look for a full-time city manager, the commission has retained an outside consulting company. We anticipate that process will take about 6 months, and there's a lot of people applying. If you know good people locally with experience, please send them our way. On curfews and emergency powers, Miami Beach continues to follow Miami-Dade County. As you may have read, I recently passed a resolution at the last commission meeting asking us to stay open a little later on New Year's Eve and Christmas Eve. And our county mayor, Daniela Levine-Cattle, recently announced that she's going to do just that. So I was very pleased of seeing Miami Beach being in the leadership role on that. So we're going to be open an extra hour, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve till 1 in the morning. Budgeting during the pandemic. This is a tough year. 2020 has been bad. It's been personally bad for me with health issues above and beyond the pandemic, but I'm looking forward to good things ahead in 2021. Saving grace is there seems to be a good amount of CARES Act money finding its way back to local government. Miami Beach has been approved for $7.5 million in reimbursements, which we need, and we've requested another 25 to 35 million, which we remain hopeful to get. Our city remains strong financially. We had very healthy reserves, and we very conservatively dipped into those reserves to balance both this past year's budget as well as our upcoming fiscal budget, which runs from October to October. So we will remain in good shape, but obviously we want the pandemic to be over. We're not going to remain in good shape forever. Some of the legislative act money included a reimbursement program for our Miami Beach restaurants that do deliveries. It was shocking to learn that up to 35% of what they make sometimes gets paid back to the food delivery and rideshare companies, Uber delivery and others. So we not only are asking those food delivery companies to lower their money, but we actually allocated some city monies to help them out that we were able to do. Second, I sponsored an extension on the waiver of interest and late payments on resort taxes for our restaurants and hotels that pay those bills to allow them to pay as they catch up. I also sponsored the extension of waiver and penalties and late fees for utility services, and that is for both residents and businesses that may be struggling. I sponsored the Restaurant Recovery Outdoor Seating Program, which is most prominent on Ocean Drive, where you see that restaurants have expanded onto the sidewalk and onto the street, as well as the closure of Ocean Drive. And we've seen that expand into other areas, including Washington Avenue, Mid Beach, Sunset Harbor, North Beach. I didn't sponsor the weird setup on Washington Avenue. I have very mixed feelings about it, but that is a temporary program until we get through the pandemic. Washington Avenue will not remain like that forever. I also sponsored the city food drives, which is not the ones where we're partnering with outside groups, but the ones that city money is used at in South Beach and North Beach. And if you don't know, for those that are in need, tomorrow, Tuesday, December 22nd, the city of Miami Beach is using $100,000 of monies, 30,000 of which we didn't do any Christmas parties. The other 70,000 coming from expected CARES Act reimbursements to purchase $1,100 gift cards to Publix. Approximately half, or 500, will be given out on South Beach tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at the police station. the other half in North Beach at 3 p.m. at the North Beach Band Show. You do have to fill out a application to demonstrate financial need. For those of you that know people that need help, have them print out the application tonight, fill it out, and show up early. We saw in both Miami and Hialeah, there was more need for this than there was actual cards to go around. And I'm concerned that will happen in Miami Beach as well. So the early bird gets the worm. Some environmental things going on. I was very excited today to see what's happening with the state of Florida and Miami-Dade County partnering to put up some real money, $20 million towards improving water quality in Biscayne Bay, something we so desperately need and something that I'm very concerned about. For those of you that don't know me, I see some of you that know me well, some of you that may not know me at all. I actually am in my third term on the city commission, non-sequential terms. So I'm in, I'm out, I'm in, I'm out, but I'm always coming back. You can never count me out. But I'm now the senior member on the commission. And when I first started, I actually created our sustainability committee that in 2007 that has become so important. One of the ideas that came from them is Reef Line, which is an exciting art and eco program off the shore of South Beach. If you don't know about it, it is coming. It will be very exciting. We will have underwater reefs. We will have underwater art. And it's really funded with private monies for the most part, which is very exciting and new. And that's an idea that we've been talking about since I got elected for the first time in 2006. So it's wonderful to see somebody bring it to fruition. In addition, I hosted and participated in a number of events to save Biscayne Bay and sponsored several items, including one which is now past first reading and is coming back for second reading in January 2021, which is the fertilizer ordinance, which is so important for our waters. And we're seeing companion ordinances in the county as well as city of Miami. So that is something I am very excited about and proud of to see coming. Some exciting news, I think, for all people, but impactful, especially for the LGBTQ community. Miami Beach has always taken the lead when it comes to human rights and diversity issues. We had a human rights and diversity ordinance before I got elected the first time, but I participated in strengthening it over many years. In 2013, I sponsored a ballot question and citywide referendum to make those protections part of our city charter, which overwhelmingly passed. And I continue to be very involved with these issues. One issue in the news as of late is conversion therapy, something that Miami Beach, I believe through former Commissioner Alleman, got involved in banning locally. And we just saw the trend happen throughout the state of Florida, where multiple local governments were banning this harmful practice. Unfortunately, a religious group in Palm Beach appealed that particular order in Palm Beach County to the federal courts. Though the Palm Beach town and county and local government initially won a favorable ruling, they appealed to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals in Atlanta, which, as we know, is a result of the Trump presidency and a number of conservative Republican appointed judges. We are seeing big changes. So in the 11th Appellate Circuit, in a 2-1 split decision, they found that this type of conversion therapy actually is free speech. And they banned local governments from banning conversion therapy, which is something very concerning for us. And thank you. Somebody just put up information about the Publix gift card. So please take a look at that. Yay, Matthew. So conversion therapy, we're really concerned because if we take it up to the Supreme Court of the US with recent appointees, we're concerned about that ruling. So local governments have come together. I'm pushing it in the city of Miami Beach, Ken Russell in the city of Miami, the counties on board, lots of cities and counties throughout Florida. We are filed a wonderful amicus brief in that case, and we are asking the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals to consider that ruling again in bank, not just a 3-judge panel, to see if we can get that set aside. So what can you do to continue to stay involved in Miami Beach? Well, you know, Miami Beach Democrats are roughly double the number of Republicans, think we have 40-something%, Democrats 30-something%, Independents, and 20-something% Republican. So we are a Democrat heavy city. The commission is made up of all Democrats or independents. A registered Republican has not won an election in Miami Beach in well over a decade. And although we are a nonpartisan board, everybody wants to know who you are and what you do. I'm a proud lifelong Democrat, so I'm also happy to be a part of this organization. Also, since I heard you talking about the Democratic Executive Committee positions briefly, I did hold the position in the area where I live in Mid-Beach before I ran most recently to come back on the commission. So that is important work for those of you that are interested in moving beyond the Miami Beach Democratic Club and into the Miami-Dade Democratic seats. There are those elected or appointed Democratic Executive Committee men and women seats that do a lot of important good for our government. So do continue those. Also, a number of you on this, I see from the faces, have positions of leadership throughout the city. Many of you I see serve on city appointed boards and committees. That is important work, including Matthew. I know you serve on one of our city boards and committees. Others of you have leadership positions in your neighborhood association groups, which are increasingly powerful, thankfully, to stand up for residents. I see Jeff Donnelly, who's been so involved in the Flamingo Park Neighborhood Association where he lives. Some of you are city employees. On this call, I see my wonderful aide, Diana Fontani, who I couldn't do this without, as well as Justin Carr, who does great work as well in our economic development department. And others, and Valerie Navarrete, the chair of our homeless committee. Harvey, you're on a board. Bill, you've been involved in so many things. So thank you all, as well as for the leadership of the Miami Beach Democratic Club. Without you being so passionate and energetic and fired up, making calls, sending emails, informing our electorate, we couldn't do it without you. So thank you all so much. And I think I see Adrian as well from the mayor's office now that I'm looking down the list. A lot of Democrats on here. So I've said a lot. I don't know how long your speakers usually talk for. It's Zoom on December 21st, and I assume everybody wants to go have a glass of wine or get back on whatever show you're binging on Netflix. So I'm not going to talk all night, but if you do have questions, you can blurt it out, you can raise your hand, you can type it on chat. If you want to know anything about the city of Miami Beach that I can answer, I'm very pleased to do so. Oh, and Gabrielle Paz, who chairs our Hispanic committee, and Ida, who was in the Mid-Beach Neighborhood Association, and I'm sure I'm missing a few others, but that's who I see as I flip through the roughly 38 participants that are on tonight. Thank you, guys, and ladies, for your service.
Commissioner, that was fantastic, and I think that you hit so many amazing points for all of us tonight. I think that's one of the things that I always love too about the Miami Beach Democrats, not our club specifically, but Miami Beach Democrats in general, is that we are a very informed electorate. We're a very engaged electorate, and we volunteer for the city boards because we care. We care about our city. If folks have questions for Commissioner Gongora, feel free to use the raise my hand feature, a comment, anything like that. If you're dialing in from your phone, you can do *6. I do have one quick question for you. So 2021, what kind of big plans do you kind of foresee? I know obviously we're still dealing with the pandemic and things like that, but are there any legislative priorities that you have or anything that you want to see happen that you were going to be pursuing in 2021 that we can maybe lift up and amplify?
Sure, thank you. Yes, that's an important question. Obviously, the pandemic and COVID will be front and center moving forward. It's very exciting now that the vaccine is being given more freely and we see more and more groups qualifying for it. We hope to move past this. But number one, from a budgetary perspective, we need to be ready in case we have another bad financial year. Number two, we're a resort-driven community for the most part. That's our number one industry, hotels, restaurants, and that revenue is incredibly down. I believe the last numbers I saw, the hotels were averaging during season about 41% occupancy, which is about half of what we normally see during these peak times. So we'll have to see how we can continue to lure tourism back. And, we're working on a campaign of staycations. have people drive that don't feel comfortable flying yet, people from all parts of Florida or the Southeast United States that might have been priced out of South Beach for a while are all of a sudden able to do a staycation and come stay at a much more reasonable rate. Next, land use and development continues to be major in our city. We have a bunch of projects on the pipeline. Some are stalled, but we're going to see those getting built. But we have to really find the balance in our community as to what we want to be. We've been mostly a seaside resort island. And then in the past 5 years or so, 6 years, 7 years, we've seen a number of hotels come in, height increases, new buildings, taller buildings. And I think the community needs to come together and decide what it is we want to be. And finally, we're going to need to figure out how to brand ourselves in other areas besides resort and tourism. One of the things we're looking at is perhaps office spaces. Now that we have all of these wealthy New Yorkers and Northeasterners that are buying multi-million-dollar mansions that I can't afford, probably none of us that are taking the time to be on this call tonight and work for our community can afford, but they're moving here and they want to have, I read that one gentleman, Ken Griffin, I think, bought like $95 million worth of property this year on Star Island, 3 parcels. So there's people with big money moving to our community. So they might want to have office buildings to work here. So that is one of the things that we are working on as well. Jeff Donnelly, who had his hand raised and then messaged the question on chat. I like that, Jeff. You're going about it both ways. Said, when will the city prepare its state legislative proposals? We did actually at the last meeting. And for any of you that need that, please reach out to me. Or if you have any follow-up questions or questions at any time, one of my emails where I send my newsletters on that I hope you all receive, because poor Diana spent so much time preparing them and putting them together. But you can always email me at michael@michaelgongora.com. My first name, michael@michaelgongora.com. And I can get you any information you need with pretty quick turnaround. The legislative proposal passed, Jeff, and everybody else that's interested. There wasn't a lot of new or interesting thing besides the COVID request. We continue to put in requests for COVID assistance, making sure we get adequate funding, adequate testing. We continue to ask the governor to let local government please have more control over these issues. It's very disturbing that we can't even charge a fine for people that violate the mask rule that we have in Miami Beach. So that continues to be one of the main issues we seek at the state level is please don't preempt us on everything. Miami Beach is different from Tallahassee, is different from Orlando, is different from Jacksonville. And we believe as your elected officials here that have the most direct communication with you all, we know what's best when it comes to these issues. So we continue to ask, please don't preempt us on everything, no matter who lobbies you at the state and gives you a ton of money. It becomes very upsetting where we believe we're crafting good legislation, whether it's Airbnb, plastic bans, and so many other things. And then you see these industries come and lobby at the state level and they come and put the kibosh on us. Besides that, we continue to lobby for human rights issues, LGBTQ freedom, though we all live very well in Miami Beach. You know, it is still alarming that at the state and federal levels, there is no legislation currently in place to protect you from being fired or discriminated in your place of work or in your place of public lodging, such as a hotel or housing. So we continue to seek those protections. We continue to seek beach renourishment and sustainability issues to maintain our beaches. There is a federal law in effect which does not allow us to bring in sand outside the US. So we must lobby for sand that mostly comes from the mid-Atlantic part of Florida, Melbourne, Stewart, those regions, and everybody wants it, not just Miami Beach, but we continue to fight to try to get as much as we can to maintain beautiful beaches. We fight for environmental quality of life. We fight for clean waters in our legislative proposals and many other things. There's about 30 items on the list. So whoever wants it, including Jeff, I'd be happy to send it to you. I see Linda Kalko with your hand raised. I don't know if it's a question for me, but if it is, feel free to unmute yourself and blurt it out or type it out in the chat.
No, yeah. Hi, Michael. You know me, I'm George's friend. Anyway, as a cyclist, I like the Washington Avenue setup. It's not perfect, but at least it lets us bike there, and also several of restaurants that I like now have more outdoor seating, which is great. How long are they going to keep that? I mean, I'm sure it could be improved, About how long do they plan to keep the Washington Avenue setup?
There's no, yeah, there's no answer to that, Linda, because it hasn't been decided. It's a temporary measure for so long as COVID is impacting the businesses. That was how it came about. The fact that it's created these great protected bicycle lanes is a secondary effect. It's great. My little cousin was over, I think last weekend, riding bike, and he came back super excited. He's like, these are the best bike lanes I've ever seen in an urban area. They're fantastic.
Hey, I like your cousin.
Yes, I like him too. And I do see that it's great. I don't think the current setup would work for the long term because that unofficial parking lane and a lane of traffic is odd, but it's shown us that we can do new and creative things. One of the things that's happening in Miami Beach, I mentioned we're looking at zoning. Well, we're looking at the entire entertainment district, which is primarily Ocean, Collins, Washington, 5th to, roughly 17th. And we actually have paid Bernard Ziskovich, hopefully I'm not killing his name, renowned architects, to do a wonderful plan and re-envision what we can do there. We're currently looking at turning this into an art and cultural center, how we deal with issues on Ocean Drive with crime, Washington Avenue with bringing life to that street, because so much of it, back in the heydays when like Bill and I were out every night, it was all big nightclubs like 1235 and Cameo that would be closed during the day, but now those are all vacant. So we got to bring life back to Washington, and we got to figure out what Collins wants to be. For a while, it looked like it was going to be a great retail corridor, but everything's closing up. So we got to figure out how we're going to rezone that area. And I do think as we rezone it and figure out the plan for the neighborhood, the appropriate heights for those buildings, I think that bike lanes will be also an integral part of that conversation because people love them, support them. I do as well. And I will be there supporting Linda.
All right, I love that, and Linda, I will say I have enjoyed the bike lanes too, for the record. Anytime we can do some more protected bike lanes, I'm all for it. And I know that a lot of our members are also big cyclists as well. Are there any other questions for Commissioner Gungor while we still have him?
I see Bill with a big hand on his screen. I don't know if that means he wants to say something, or if that's a high five. Yeah. Hey.
All right, and Jeff, I just want to make sure that your question was answered. I think that it was. If there's no more questions, Commissioner, thank you so much. We really appreciate having you here tonight. We always enjoy having you with the Miami Beach Democratic Club. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your leadership.
Sherry Rubin looks to have a question.
Sherry,
I'm sorry? Oh, Sherry's got a question?
Yes.
Sherry, go for it. I must have missed that in the chat.
Waving. That's all right. I didn't. I was just frantically waving. I'm old school. And it's quick, and pardon me if this is really naive, but when does the commission meet, and are those meetings open to the public?
That's a good question, Sherry, actually, because the governor said local government can't meet solely via Zoom anymore. So for the past 2 months, it's been a hybrid meeting at the convention center. The public is not invited, but a quorum, since we're 7, meaning 4 or more of the members of the commission, have been meeting live at the convention center, separated by plexiglass. You can't even tell who's there and who's not because there's not a dais. Everybody's on camera. There's no city manager, no city attorney, no city clerk. It's just those 4 or 5 members of the commission that rotate. Some are home. I've been at home, for some of those, but you can't tell. And until we get a new order from the governor, that is how we're meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. But for the people at home, you'll still attend via Zoom. There's not a place to go live and see the commission. So you'll continue to Zoom on. And the next commission meeting, I believe, is January 13th. We meet on Wednesdays, and I think Wednesday, January 13th is the next commission meeting.
How do you get the link?
I'm sorry?
How do you get the link?
How do we get to that? What?
No. Can I get the link?
Yes. Everybody can go. You can Zoom in just like you are participating here. We have a participant page that looks the same because it's through Zoom. You were muted, and so your hand is raised and you were called on by whoever's running the meeting, the mayor or the vice mayor. But yes, you can appear, you can talk. We still have the Setnik Residence Hour at 8:30 in the morning for 30 minutes. And we usually resume it around 1-ish. I say 1-ish because the lunch one usually moves late. It's usually around 1:30-ish. But I recommend, if you want to speak to us, Zoom on at 8:30 and raise your hand because there's a sure thing that you'll get called. and be able to share 2 minutes of whatever you'd like with us.
How do I get the link to get invited to the?
It comes out about a week before the meeting. So roughly January 6th, it'll be on the city website, the city Facebook page, or you can email me and I'd be happy to send it to you.
Thank you.
Also, a final point, the final point, Matthew's like, enough already. Boards and committees, a lot of people are interested in them. They run with the calendar year. So if you are interested in getting involved in a city board or committee, now is the time. You can find that list also on the city website, miamibeachfl.gov. The way that I find it is I click on mayor and commissioners, and then under mayor and commissioners, there's a box that says boards and committees. You can see what the committees are, who has open seats. The ones that require a commission vote are supposed to be voted on. The mayor sent word that we're going to be voting on those at the January 13th meeting. So if you want one of those, you better be reaching out for somebody to nominate you before January 13th.
Thank you, Commissioner. We appreciate it. All right. With that, if there's no other further questions for Commissioner Gongora, we will. Is there any new business this evening? All right, hearing none. Just very quickly at the bottom of our agenda, upcoming events and important dates. Again, we continue
Matthew,
doing.
I have something. I have something. It's not a proposal. Patrick was not here at the meeting, and I was wondering, is our bank account roughly at $5,000 or has it changed?
Yes, it is. It is roughly that amount. He was going to email me the treasurer's report prior to him leaving town. He's but didn't do it, unfortunately, and wasn't able to get in front of his computer beforehand. So we will be sending that out with the minutes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So upcoming events and dates. Again, we continue doing our phone banking for the Georgia runoff races every Tuesday and Saturday. We will not be doing a phone bank this Saturday. We are not providing that space, but you are more than welcome to do so. We decided that the Democratic Club was going to take the Saturday after Christmas off. Again, our December food drive is ongoing. If you want to make an actual food contribution, you can email Amanda Knapp or Leva Fernandez for either North Beach or South Beach, South Beach and North Beach respectively, and they were happy to arrange a pickup. Or you're also able to make a direct contribution, which will be used to purchase food that will then be donated. And then finally, again, just to reiterate, mybeachdems@gmail.com is our club email account. If you have any interest in serving on one of the boards or committees, or if you would like to sit on the be on the nominating committee, please feel free to reach out to us there. And with that, our next meeting will be held on Monday, January the 18th at 7 o'clock. And we're still going to be meeting via Zoom for the first foreseeable future until things start getting a lot better. So with that, we will adjourn this meeting at 7:54 p.m. Thank you so much and happy holidays, everybody. Appreciate you.
Happy holidays.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays, everyone.